One of the problems we have here, quite common, is that people want to put trailers on their Land Rover. Now obviously that's not a big deal. They've got a hitch on it, or have they? And they've got wiring in the back, or have they? You see, the European style 7-pin round plug is not applicable here. What they have is so many different systems, it's untrue. And one of the reasons, the biggest boogaloo I have, is that American trailers and Canadian trailers flash their brake lights as indicators. Now this sort of reminiscence back to like the year Henry Ford or something like that. I don't know, just made that up. But it's simple but primitive, and you can't really replicate it because it was all built into the switch unit, brake switch unit of North American trucks, and I think it's only North Americans that do it. So what you've got to do, there's a little way of doing it, and you've got to get one of these, a control box. Now you can see here, this is the fantastic plugs they put on American trailers. They are pathetically bad, and especially this is the ground. You see it's hollow? They don't last 5 minutes, and you get a bit of salt on them, they've gone in 60 seconds type of thing. And of course you've got a reciprocal part on your trailer. Or have you? Because when you go to you can guarantee over here, if you went and borrowed a trailer, you can guarantee it's got a different plug on it. This is a sort of a commonish one, but there was 3 pins, 4 pins, 5 pins, 7 pins, all sorts of manner and means of things. Same with trailer balls, you know, like the Hitch. There's 1 7/8", 2 inch, I think it's 2 1/4 or 2 1/2. Oh no, there's a little tiny one as well. I haven't even seen one of those for a long time. I think about 1 1/2 inches. So again, you can guarantee when you go to a trailer, you can't pick it up. And the reason for that is they judge the trailer ball by the weight of the trailer, if you see what I mean. So the bigger the trailer, the bigger the ball, if you see what I mean. So that means that you couldn't hitch a car trailer onto like a Toyota Tercel or something like that. So they designed to change the trailer balls. Well, this was an accident waiting to happen, because you can actually put a 2-inch trailer ball onto an 1 7/8" ball. You can put a 2-inch trailer hitch onto an 1 7/8" ball, but not the other way around, if you see what I mean. Well, I've had that happen before. You know, damn, go over a bump, the bloody thing comes off. So that's why it's very important to put chains on. Because, you see, it's very difficult, you know, like looking at things. What's the difference between an 1 7/8" and 2 inch? It ain't much. It ain't much at all. And they usually have it stamped right on top of the ball. Well, that gets worn off and you can't see it. So anyway, less of this rambling. We've chosen to put this little converter box on, which is kind of common, and it's an easy fix. As you can see, this bit goes onto the car. White is ground here. Go figure. What's brown? Tail light. Left turn is yellow. Stop light is red. And the green is the right turn. Right? Now, this is where it gets interesting. If it wasn't interesting enough already. If you have a car trailer with brakes on, they are electric brakes. So that means you've got to power all the way through the car a high enough amperage cable to power the trailer brakes. And they usually come with a round socket. I'll show you. This, I've broke the cap off. This is a North American standard 7-pin plug. The plug's the same, but depending on what vehicle you're towing with, like if it's an RV, a recreation vehicle, well, they're wired just that little bit differently. Oh man, there's a standard, but there's so many standards, it's unbelievable. And of course there's the plug. A kind of robust item, but this actually is a test plug for the brakes and things like this. And this is a little device that I made years ago, right? So you plug that in, I might as well show you. So you plug that into your end of your trailer socket, plug that into your trailer, and then you can hook this onto somewhere that's visible, or sometimes you can run this because it's kind of long, almost up to the hitch, and you can play with the brakes and the lights and stuff like this, and these little LEDs will light up and tell you which light is working. To take this one step further, I put some crocodile clips on. One's missing, look. More repairs. And these will, so if you have your trailer, I know it's getting complicated, isn't it? So if you take this bit off and you plug your trailer into it, you can actually power up the circuits individually to tell you what's working. It's come in handy many times when you're trying to fault find trailers, trailer problems. So that was well worth making. Now you see, when we talk about trailer brakes, it's not just a question of fastening up a wire to your brake switch that powers the actuators in the trailers, because they're either on or off. So what you need is a controller in the cab or near the driver that it's got maybe a sliding control on it, and that's like almost like a timer type of thing. It's some sort of a resistance. I really haven't got into them too much, but you need one. I'll show you one of those too. I took this one out of my truck. I used the 4-pin idea so I can transpose this between different vehicles, but usually it's hardwired into your wiring harness. It's a lot of messing about, believe me. So this is the control. It's only a light little box made by a company called Rawson, and it says you can take it with you, providing you've got the right wiring and the right hitch, etc, etc. How it works, you've got a sliding controller here. So if you just sort of lightly dab on your brakes, there's a pause before the brakes come on. You see what I mean? So you can adjust it depending on the weight. Like for example, if you had it set here on maximum and you come to a traffic light and you just want to dab the brake to slow down a bit, the damn brakes will lock on and throw you through the damn window. Now you've also got a manual override here, which is kind of handy, and I use that quite a lot. And it also puts your brake lights on, which puts the fear of God into somebody behind you, because you're not slowing down but the lights come on. That retails at about, I don't know, I think about $90 for that thing. Now the trailer brakes themselves, how do they work? It's very simple. Well, it has to be, because the actuator that opens your brake shoes, so there's an actuator that opens your brake shoes like this in your drum, that's pretty much standard. It's like a cam, so it's like a plate cam. So when that bit moves, your shoes expand, and that's it. So off that actuator there's a drop arm with a magnet on it, an electromagnet, and what that does is it grips on the inside of your, so when you press the brake, it grips onto the inside of the drum, slides around, there's a lot of friction, and then it applies the brakes. And the theory being is, when the brake's applied, the drum stops down, the drum slows down and stops, so it's not wearing out, in theory. So it's a lot of work to put in electric brakes if you're not going to use them, and you know, because I don't know, like I have them on my Land Rover electric brakes, but it's a right pain running wires through, odd wires if you see what I mean, because they've got to go front to back. Now, while we're talking about trailers and things like this, let's have a look at the hitch on this. This is what's called a receiver hitch. Now, there are, of course, just to make life interesting, there are different diameter trailer hitches as well, you know, receivers, from very small for light cars that want to like put a bracket on for a little small trailer. But again, there's so many permutations of trailers, hitches, balls, wiring, it's a bloody nightmare. But you see, this one's designed for a Land Rover, but actually it's not properly designed, because it's supposed to have two rings on the side where you can put your chains on, because you're supposed to you have two chains on a trailer that are supposed to cross over like this, and the idea is if the trailer comes off, it will drop onto the chains, not onto the floor. good idea. So we've got to sort of look at that somehow. I don't know why they didn't put that on. Yeah, so that's that. That's receivers and things like that. So it's kind of different to what we're used to. I mean, like in Europe we had a 2-inch ball and that was good enough for everything, or 50mm in Europe, which is pretty much the same. So, less of this rambling. I'm going to take this wiring now. I'm going to put this on the inner wing. Now these fortunately are waterproof, and I do know they're waterproof because I've had them for years. It's got some sticky back plastic, must have come from Blue Peter, and but I'm going to put a screw in there just in case. I'm going to run these through the grommet, and hopefully with a bit of luck I'll try and get the camera organised inside so we can show you the wiring connections if you need to put one of these fantastic pieces of engineering on. Alright, sadly enough, they've got this great big lead on them which just dangles about in the middle of nowhere, and this is what I'm saying. That's why these connections corrode quickly, because they're in all the road dirt, because there's nowhere to put it. So yeah, I'm going to have to think about that. Here we go. Fortunately our Land Rover's got British standard wiring in, and the harness hasn't been too messed about with yet. It's had some hacking done here, I don't know why that is. Anyway, we'll put that over there. Let's go through the colours. Green with a red tracer is the left indicator, and green with a white indicator is the right. You can always remember green and white, that's the right, so then you can't go wrong. Green with a purple, that is the brake light. No, yeah, brake light. Yeah, that's right, it's brake light. What else have we got in here? Green and a brown, that's a reverse light. We don't have to worry about that too much at the moment. It's got 2 sets of night lights, like parking lights. And the reason is it's on 2 different circuits. The left's different for the right, but we only need one. So a red with a black tracer is one side, I can't remember which, and then a red with an orange tracer, that's the other side. So really all we have to do is put these old bullet connectors back on here, and we should be away and it should work. Quite simple really. So let's get on with that. The tool I'm going to be using is this Ripka. It's an old tool, I've had this for donkey's years. And simply what you do, and like I say, I'm working one hand in a very confined space, you put your bullet connector in there, you put your wire in there, you'll twist it around a bit. This is difficult, very difficult. There we go, get that into there, give it a crimp, take it out if it will come out, there we go. And that's a nice, you can see the wire's just the right length, it's crimped onto there, and that's lovely. That'll make a nice tight fit into these bullet connectors here. Now we don't have to worry about too much about waterproofing and things like that because they're inside the car, but if you've got any concerns about water, I always fill them with Vaseline. You know, these things here, and then they last for years. Right, let's get it connected up. So I've got the wires in nice, I've got them all in. Notice that the bullets go really deep inside there. They're not sticking out, so there's no chance of them shorting. So that's alright. Before we box it up, we'll test it. But one thing I wanted to show you is about the bullets themselves. Oh, before I start that, this is a little gizmo I got to push the bullets in, if you see what I mean. I just made this out of a knackered old pair of strippers. And it's just nice for pushing the bullets home deep inside there. Now, bullets. I always try to collect the original type from old cars and Land Rovers and stuff like this. I've stripped them off the plastic housing at the moment, but it's something that you should be aware of because this is a magnet. The new ones are steel and the old ones are brass. Now the old brass ones you can take out and clean them with a bit of a sandblaster and blow them out and use them again. These will corrode, alright, these will corrode. So if you're going to use these, and sometimes we haven't got much of an option, put a bit of Vaseline in and that'll be fine. So one other thing, oh, while we're on this subject here, the for some bizarre reason, Land Rover put a nut and bolt through this back cover that goes right under there, look. Well, with the door open, as it is there, you haven't got a snowball's chance in hell of getting that tightened up. So I put a little spire nut on there, so it's like a captive nut, and when we put that on, it's going to be fine. Easy, eh? So, we'll box this up, and we'll do a test. Or should I say, we'll do a test and then box it up. So what I did, I made this little test rig here out of old series or early Defender light holders. Quite simple, and I just use bullet connectors like we did down there, and it works out great. So I can plug now my trailer wire into here and test it. So let's have a look at what happens. So there we go, we've got the night lights on, parking lights, side lights, whatever you want to call them. And now we'll turn on the indicators. Now you'll see that the indicator lights for a little while for the trailer and then goes off. It's all to do with the resistance of that box. But if you look at the back, oh, I'll turn the bloody things on first. See, this is what they do. Instead of having a nice amber light flashing, it's got that one, it flashes the brake light. It's really pathetic, isn't it? But that's what we've got to do, and there's no point putting the other side on because that works as well. But that's it, that's all you're going to see. So that's a handy little thing if you're in North America to make for your trailer, because you can put an extension cable on here and take it right to the front. So if you've got wiring problems with your vehicle, you can clip this in and find out if it is the trailer wiring or if it's the wiring in the car. So I'm going to put some, I think I can, see there's nowhere to put the cable, you see, the cable comes out of there. I really don't know what to do with it. I'll have to, maybe I have to have a rethink of that and bring that cable up through the inside and tie it up in here, but I don't think he wanted that. I don't know, we'll have to see. Well, I'll best speak to him first, see what he wants to do. Alrighty, so I hope you like that. That's a little thing about North American lights and how poor they are. And did they go to the moon with that wiring? I don't think so. Alright, we'll see you later. Ta-da.